The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
You open your mail and there it is, an $800 fine from your association. No warning, no chance to explain, just a demand to pay.
We need this resolved.
The board says it already voted, so the matter is closed. But is a board vote enough? Can your Florida condo or HOA legally fine you without notice in a hearing?
Hey, is that legal? Yep, we're gonna find out with this new segment today. It's called Condo Creators and HOAs. Can they fine you? Is it legal? We're starting something new, and every week you're gonna send us stories that end with the same question. Is that even legal, you wonder? So Eric knows, because he's the attorney.
Yep.
He went to law school at the University of Miami. So we built a segment around it. It's called Can They Legally Do That? And here's how it works. We take one real world association problem, and Eric walks you through what Florida law really requires. And then he rules on it. Oh boy. Legal, illegal, or it depends. There's always an it depends for you attorneys.
Yes,
I know
there
that.
is, of course.
And if it depends.
It's our way out.
Yes.
If we're wrong.
It depends.
Right.
So if it does depend, then he'll tell you what it depends on. So what are we putting on trial today?
Today's case is one that we hear about constantly, and it has to do with fining without a hearing. And your board decides you broke a rule. It votes, a bill shows up in your mailbox. Nobody ever asked for your side of the story. So can they legally do that? I can tell you right now, the answer is not the one most boards think it is. And let me show you why. By the end of this segment, you're going to know three things. One, the difference between a fine being levied and a fine being imposed. Two, the hearing procedure your board is not allowed to skip. Three, why the same $800 fine plays out very differently in a condo than it does in an HOA. And most importantly, you'll know what to ask for before you pay or before your board tries to collect. And here is the first surprise. The process does not begin with the amount, it begins with authority. Before your board fines anybody, it has to actually have the power to fine. And that power comes from two places, Florida law and your community's own documents. And here's where a lot of communities get tripped up. Some older documents never gave the board that power to fine at all. If that is your community, the board may have to amend those documents first before it fines a single owner, or you have to have Kaufman language or as amended from time to time language in your governing documents. Now, this is not something to guess at. If the documents do not give the board that power, the fine has a problem long before anybody argues about that parking space. So no, a board cannot just say, Florida law lets us fine people and leave it at that. Check the law, check your documents, authority first, violation second. Now, let's assume the association does have the power to fine. Under the procedure described in the supplied source, the process begins at the board level. There's always some confusion on that. The alleged violation goes on a board meeting agenda. At the meeting, a director makes a motion proposing the fine. Another director seconds it, and the board votes. If the required board majority approves the motion, the fine has been levied. But listen carefully, levied does not necessarily mean finally imposed, and it doesn't mean the owner automatically owes the money that afternoon. That distinction is where many boards and many owners get lost, and here's how it works. The board first proposes and levies the penalty. In a condo, the fine is capped at $100 per day. In an HOA, the fine could be more than $100 per day if the governing documents allow for it. Then a separate fining committee performs an important procedural check. The committee must be properly constituted. The statute requires that the fining committee contains at least 3 board-appointed members who cannot be association officers, directors, or employees, and certain close relatives are also excluded. That committee is there to vet what the board decided. Now, next comes notice. You are entitled to at least 14 days notice before that hearing. 14 days, not 14 hours, and not a text message the night before. The HOA statute says the notice must include a description of the alleged violation, the specific action required to cure such violation, if applicable, and the hearing date, location, and access information if held by telephone or other electronic means, because a parcel owner has the right to attend a hearing by telephone or other electronic means. The condo statute only says the owner is entitled to notice of the hearing. The hearing is your chance to push back. Now, maybe it wasn't your car. Maybe the rule doesn't say what the board thinks it says. Or maybe you did it and the board still skipped the required step. A real hearing is not, hey, we already decided, so sit down and listen. A real hearing is notice and then an actual chance to be heard. But here's the catch. The committee has exactly 2 options: approve the fine or throw it out. It cannot knock $800 down to $400 because that feels fairer. Now comes the distinction that can dramatically raise the stakes. A fine in a condominium cannot become a lien against a unit. In a Florida HOA, however, the statute states that once a fine reaches $1,000, the association may be able to lien the property and proceed toward foreclosure. Now, that doesn't mean an HOA can jump from a violation letter directly to foreclosure. Every legal prerequisite still matters, but it does mean an HOA owner should never treat a growing fine as meaningless. And here's the hypothetical. Unit 107 parks in guest parking for 8 consecutive days. The board believes that that violates the community documents. The board places a fining of Unit 107 on its meeting agenda. At that meeting, a director moves to fine Unit 107 for 8 days, a total of $800. The motion is seconded, and a majority votes yes. At that moment, the board has levied the proposed $800 fine. It has not necessarily completed the process. The owner gets the opportunity to respond. The committee then approves the entire $800 or rejects it. If it approves the fine, the owner must be told when payment is due. Now, what should Unit 107 do after receiving the notice? First, don't ignore it. Silence is how an $800 problem turns into a $1,200 problem. Second, ask for the paperwork, the exact rule you supposedly broke, the dates, the board's motion, the vote, and the minutes, and find out who is sitting on that committee, because they are not allowed to also be on the board. Third, show up with your proof. Photos, guest passes, emails, security logs, whatever shows what actually happened. Keep it short and factual. Do not spend your 10 minutes going after the board president. And one last thing, if you're in a condo or HOA and that number is climbing toward a lien, or the collection letters start showing up, call a Florida Community Association lawyer. Do not wait it out. All right, time to rule on Unit 107. The board voted on the $800 before the committee ever met. Legal, illegal, or it depends. That one is legal. The board goes first. The committee comes second. That is the order that is supposed to run in. But now let's say the board skips the committee entirely and mails Unit 107 a bill for $800. Do immediately? No, illegal. No notice, no hearing, no committee, no fine. The board does not get to erase steps that the law requires. Third one, Unit 107 absolutely parked there for 8 straight days. Everybody saw it. Being right about the parking does not make the board right about the process. And last one, the association held some kind of hearing So the fine sticks, right? This is the one where it depends. It depends upon when the notice went out, who was sitting on that committee, and whether Unit 107 actually got to speak. Next time somebody says the board voted so you have to pay, ask the question, can they legally do that? We'll be right back right after this.
Even the best golfers struggle when nobody's managing the course.
I need the driver, not the putter. This 5 right.
Condo construction projects can feel exactly the same. Engineers focus on repairs. Contractors focus on installation and construction. But who's helping coordinate the entire project and protect the board? HCMC helps condo and HOA boards bring structural oversight and accountability to complex construction projects. HCMC, helping boards stay on course.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Well, back to condo craze and HOAs. Mr. Is it legal or is it not, or is it depending on whatever you think it says?
Yes.
That's so cool.
It is. I love that segment.
love
Yeah,
it.
way to go, Rob, thinking about that. And look what Dennis writes in on the chat. Are we supposed to stand at attention and wait for the king and queen of condo education to arrive? Don't be silly. Yes. Okay. Of course.
But you would say pay the fine
Yes.
immediately and then figure out if it's legal, not legal, or...
You know, I take that position not just with fines. I take it with foreclosures, like a lot of times people will say, but I don't owe the $500 in delinquent assessments. And you very well may be right. But if you have that extra $500 laying around,
Do it.
pay it and fight after. Because if you don't pay it, the $500 can go to $5,000 very, very quickly. So don't take that chance. And, you know, maybe you didn't pay it. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe your bank records are wrong. So pay it first and then worry about it, getting it back.
And then call Eric.
And then call an attorney. Yeah. Or, you know, always don't take the risk, because a small matter like a fine or a small amount being requested in a foreclosure action could turn into something so large, so fast, with the attorney's fees and all candor, being honest about it, it will swallow you up.
You know, just one other question about 107. I live in Unit 107, but so you've parked there 7 consecutive days.
No, we're talking about you, just to be clear.
It's always about me.
Right.
So, you know, shouldn't they get some sort of a sticker or a message on the car?
That would be a great way to do things if you're in an association. Why not sticker the car first, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Give the person a warning.
But they just let you...
I mean, rather than, you saying you sticker them first rather than fining them first?
Well, just let them know that you're in violation.
Let's put it this way. I think you're right. I think if you sticker them first, I don't think the fining process will be necessary.
No.
Because that sticker is a pain in the you-know-what to take off your damn car, Right?
So you're just counting the days, not letting them know.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. Not letting them know. And then you wait, like in the example, it got to
And
8
here it's in
days
your
and bang,
box.
you got fined $800 in
that.
one shot. What the law allows.
I don't
Yep,
like it.
the law allows
They
it.
should have to warn you.
Yep. Who's our first call?
We have Carl from Royal Palm Beach, I think.
Hey, Carl.
Palm Beach.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hi, before I get to the meat of my question, am I correct that, Eric, you were heavily involved with the creation of the milestone and SURS requirements?
A little bit. I wouldn't say heavily involved. No, I was not heavily involved, but was I a little bit involved? Yes. I mean, I will tell you that what I was pushing for forever is the reserve, the mandatory reserve requirements. That's really where my focus was. The Sears requirements came in after, of course, unfortunately, the collapse of the building in the Champlain Towers. And that not necessarily was my idea. No, I certainly won't take credit for that. But I will take credit for the reserve idea.
Okay, so now, do you think I'm reasonable to assume that the legislature exempted two-story condos because the likelihood of a catastrophic structural failure is much less likely in those low-rise buildings?
The answer to your question is right. Of course, that's why the legislature exempted that. But I want to preface my question the following way. In Dade and Broward counties, it does not go by height. In Dade and Broward counties, it goes by square footage. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it's something like 3,000 square feet in one county, 2,000 square feet in another county, something like that. And if your building has at least that square footage, regardless of your height, you're going through the recertification process. Okay? But everywhere else, every other county, I would say you're right. Okay? It was kept at 2 stories or less because you're far less likely to have a catastrophic loss when it's 2 stories, of course.
Okay. So here's my question. And by the way, are you aware of any catastrophic failures of 2-story buildings?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So here's my question. In a 2-story building in Palm Beach County, what is the duty of the board of directors to go on a fishing expedition to try to find hidden problems, hidden defects in the walls, say? I'm not talking about things that are obvious where you have, catwalks where stuff is crumbling,
Right.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's a great question. That's a great question. So you're making the point that if something's hidden and you're not required to do an inspection of any kind, right, because you're under 3 stories, and you know that there's obviously no chance of a catastrophic loss probably at 2 stories or less, what's the board's obligation? I think in that type of situation, the board is simply under the obligation where if they see something that's chipping, paint is falling away, there's a crack in the building, concrete is falling, they obviously have a duty to repair that immediately. But other than that, do they have the obligation to start chipping away and finding problems? No, there's no statute, I don't believe, that would require them to do that at all.
They have to do that.
Thank you for agreeing with me. But my other thing is, what about limited common elements like balconies, upper balcony, second floor balconies?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Where we're responsible for the structure of it, but not necessarily the paint or the stucco.
Well, if there's no proof whatsoever that there's rebar that's showing through the concrete, for example, then I don't think that the board is under an obligation to start breaking through the flooring of the balconies to try to find out if there is rebar that's rusting. I think you find the problem when it presents its ugly head.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Good phone call. Really good phone call. All right. Who do we got next, Rob?
I think I have something to say about that.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I think, if we look at Champlain Towers, that was the first building that anyone was in that ever collapsed.
Right.
So I think we need to look at this more forward looking, as that's an indication of what might happen if you neglect.
Right.
I just Googled 2-story building collapse, and it wasn't occupied, but there are collapses in 2-story buildings. Yeah.
Really?
So I would just be cautious with ruling out height, because if you have 2 stories, there's still potential for structural failure,
Right.
despite maybe it's not as catastrophic.
Sure. But could it happen? Yes. And that's interesting. Do you know if that happened in Florida?
No, it was in Iowa.
Okay. All right.
But
Put together with corn in Iowa, and what does a guy want,
So, but like a balcony could fall on you down below.
Right.
I mean, that could happen.
Of course. Look,
But
anything could happen, right? We know anything could happen. But the legislature wanted to make it where, look, we're not going to make it impossible to, for everybody and make it so expensive for everybody. We're already making it expensive. So anything under 3 stories, guys, you get a break. And that's why I think, over time or even now, if you own a condo in a townhome or in a condo in a building that's less than 3 stories, I think you're sitting on something good, and that's where people are going to want to move to. That's for sure.
There's a brand new build, the Porsche building in Miami. You see that, where they have the elevator takes your car up to your house.
Yep.
It's like sinking on one side.
Already is. That's
already
right.
a problem.
Yep.
And so, but they don't have to do any, right? They don't have to.
Not yet, no. But if they know it's sinking, I think they better do something to fix it. No. Well, they do have to do their structural integrity reserve study.
Yeah, they
but
would
they're
have
not
to.
required to do their recertification. That's a brand new building, for probably another 20 years. But which
10 years on the coast.
25, 30 years, and then 25 on the coast.
coast.
Yeah. So,
so
they don't have to do that.
But that elevator's like bending and the
crazy,
ground
right?
is moving.
Brand new building, and I got news for you. That's not the only one, I'm sure, that is sitting like that on the coast. There's more. Yeah, there's more. And we're going to have, our expert engineer that we had 2 weeks ago on. It's going to walk us through all of this, as a matter of fact, all over again. Back to the phones. Mr. Batista.
Love him.
That's right. Let's go to, looks like Marie.
Hey, Marie.
From Fort Lauderdale?
Hi, Eric. Okay, I'm on the board, and one of our community members asked the management company who was sitting at the meeting how long it takes for them to do a background check on a prospective renter. And he said they have up to 30 days, and even then some. And I'm wondering, isn't that a long time to do a background check to enable someone to rent their unit?
The county allows for that. I can tell you there's a Broward County code and there's a Dade County code that would allow for that. But regardless of what the county allows for, in other words, that time is certainly sufficient with the county. But the question is, what do your documents require? Your documents may say that upon a completed application, right, that the association has to make a decision within 7 days, within 10 days, within 15 days. So,
okay, I'm going to check the doc.
Yeah,
All
that's the
because
important
they
thing.
said every member has to look at the whatever documentation that's provided by the background company.
Well,
all right, I just
once
it seems like a long time.
Yeah, well, once that applicant sends in that application and the money, the clock starts to run from that point, according to your documents. So see what your documents say as to how long that person has. But I will tell you that under the Broward County Code and the Dade County Code, 30 days is fine.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, that answers my question.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. Keep them coming, Rob.
Can they still prevent felons from moving in?
It's become a little easier. The government really doesn't have as much input as it used to be. The government basically
quantifying felons.
They took away a lot of the memos that the federal government wrote on how condos should be deciding these issues were pulled from the Trump administration. Okay, Trump administration pulled them. I'm thinking that because it was a little too liberal, some of the things that they were suggesting. For example, you cannot reject a felon who hasn't committed a violent crime within
20 years.
7 years.
Oh, 7
within
years.
7 years, right. So Charles Manson wants to move into your community. You
yeah,
have to
that's what I
accept
thought.
Charles
But
Manson,
Trump
right?
pulled all that.
But yeah, that memo, those memos have now been pulled.
Interesting.
So I think, you have a little more leeway to do what you think is best in your community.
Well, they let all of those gang members into the condos
In
and
Colorado,
apartments in Colorado.
right. You don't want that to happen in New York. And we saw that. It was unbelievable. All right, back to the
Uzis.
phones, Rob. Yeah. That's allowed under
But
the
they
prior
haven't used it in
administration.
7 years,
Right,
so-
there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. As long
I
as they
have
don't use
one,
it
but
now.
I just haven't used it.
Back to the phones, Rob.
All right, we have John with a finding question.
Oh, good.
Hey, John.
Can they do that legally?
Hey, good morning, Eric. Good morning, Karen.
Hey.
Just a little comment before I get to my question. There are 25 buildings in Miami that are sinking,
Yes.
including that Porsche building that Karen mentioned.
Yep.
Oh,
23 of them are in Aventura.
Now, I read something about that. The building official in Aventura, or Sunny Isles Beach, or Aventura, I think you're right, is taking the position that no, the information that we gave, I guess the state, OPAGA, I forgot what OPAGA stands for, but it's the government agency that does all these investigations and stuff. They're interpreting the information that Aventura gave to the state incorrectly. What we told them that there's these 23 buildings that are currently going through recertification at the moment. It does not mean that the buildings are failing. It means that we're going through recertification. So I understand that when exactly what you're talking about hit the paper, I'm sure that the city of Aventura freaked the hell out because it looked really bad for the city of Aventura. 23 buildings that are, on the verge of collapse.
They
apparently.
should rename it Pizza.
Yeah, right.
Well, they kind of said they weren't saying they were collapsing, but what they reported,
They're
They were in dangerous condition.
was that they were sinking.
Sinking.
They
Yes,
weren't in
sinking.
jeopardy, but they were sinking faster than what they should.
Really?
On one side rather than the other,
I
right?
represented a building in Aventura no less, 20 years ago, let's say. Now picture this: you're in the parking structure, right? You're in the garage, right? You tell the maintenance man to paint the poles, right? The parking poles, that you have to park between, right? 6 months goes by and you say to the maintenance man, I told you to paint the poles. And the maintenance man says, I did paint the poles.
No.
And, well, why is the bottom of it a different color? He paint them again, right? 6 months go by. I thought I told you to paint the poles. Then why is the bottom a different color, right? Because the surface of the parking lot was sinking every few months.
Holy
Yes, yeah, it was sinking. So, do these things happen? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Look, I mean, we know. Well, look what Florida's built on.
Oh, I know.
Look what, the more you go out west, look what it's built
There's
on out
water
there.
table underneath
Right.
a coral, whatever, limestone. What is
Yep.
it?
So these things happen, and pretty new to some extent. All these skyscrapers that have been built over the last 20, 30 years, and time will tell, right? Whether or not 50 years from now, it's going to be significant.
Well, you can't expect
problem.
one side to, for it to all sink at the same time.
If it does sink at the same time, I think
You're
contractors
okay.
will tell you, yeah, it's okay, no problem.
But when it's
if
doing
one
4
side
centimeters
sinks,
on one side,
that's a significant issue. How do you stop that? That I'd really want to know. How do you correct that?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, John, you had another question, right?
Yeah, I just want to get my question. You're talking about finding today. And after 28 years, our board finally decided to enforce some of the rules. We have hundreds, and I mean hundreds of violations, but they have selected 7 people, 7 unit owners that they were going to fine, one of which is me.
of course.
Anyway, is there a, I mean, talk about selective enforcement, it's ridiculous. But anyway, is in an HOA, Eric, is there a limit? How long can those fines, like they had a meeting, they voted to fine, they didn't state the amount. And I think our docs call for $50 a day. But how long does that accrue? Isn't there a limit on that?
For each day that the violation continues. So they warn you on a certain, they tell, at that meeting, they got to tell you it started on such and such a date, right? And it's continued to such and such a date.
Can they let it rack up?
Yeah, they can let it rack up.
Because in your example, you had 7 days.
Yeah, why can't
Can
they
they
let
let it
rack
go for
up?
30 days?
Yeah, I mean, why can't they do it, right?
Okay, so if they announce, if they take a vote that they're going to fine, they don't name any numbers. They don't come up with any numbers. Well, we've decided we're going to fine these. They take a vote. They vote on it. Yes, we're going to fine. Then they send us a second notice that's saying, oh, by the way, you're scheduled to go before this. This was like a month ago. Then they say, okay, we're going to have you appear before the hearing committee on August 25th. So you're talking like 60 days here.
Right.
Whoa.
Okay, and you're saying, so that can accrue for all those 60 days?
All right. Now we're going to talk about this next week, but we left it out of the script today because there's a lot of things that there's such a big topic that you couldn't possibly cover all of it in one opening episode. But depending upon whether or not you cured the violation before the actual fining committee hearing, you may not owe anything. Okay. Now, in the first meeting before the board, they got to tell you on what day the violation started, right? You have to know. You have to be able to defend yourself.
Is that HOA and condo?
Of course, they got to tell you your violation started on such and such a day. You may be able to say, look, here's my diary. I was even out of town on that day. What are you talking about? You have a right to know the specific charges against you.
They did say the specific charges, but they didn't say, by the way, you started violating this on such and such a day, and it's going to accrue until such and such a day.
I think that makes it deficient, in and of itself. That makes it deficient.
Ooh, illegal.
And by the way, Eric, my violation started over 15 years ago.
Really? You're going to prison. Wow.
So
Damn.
that's $100
It's been nice knowing you. Holy cow.
365 days times 15.
Right.
Holy smokes.
Know, and that creates a whole other issue. What about the statute of limitations?
Yes.
Just because the statute of limitations expired, does that mean that they can't fine for stuff that's old? I would think so. I don't think they would have a right to do that.
Well, they have screwed this up so bad you wouldn't believe it. Yet there's a car across the street from me. The tag's been expired for 6 months. They drive by it every day. He got no notice of anything.
Huh.
Let me say this: I don't like the fining statutes. I really don't. Like you just said, oftentimes it's not meted out fairly.
If it's not applied equally, then what?
you should be able to attack the statute in and of itself, like John was saying, selective enforcement.
Okay.
Right. The question you just asked is a very good one. How long can they go back? Well, what about if the statute of limitations expired? Doesn't talk about any of that. So I think there's a lot of different ways to potentially attack the statute, and why there are different ways of fining between condos and HOAs. I'll never get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And oftentimes, especially in a condo, it's just not worth the trouble.
Is the statute of limitations in the documents or the statute itself?
In the statute itself, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, Eric. There's myself and a few of us that are going to schedule an appointment with you because this thing is so far out of whack. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of fining. And yes, there is a lot of ways to attack it.
Okay. We'll hopefully we'll get in to see you this week or next week because this is just completely out of control. I mean, I've had signs in my front yard since the day I moved in that haven't moved one bit.
Yeah, John, you look good in an orange jumpsuit. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you, I know you. I'm telling you, you look great. Don't worry about it, pal.
You're an habitual offender.
Yes.
So oh my.
Well, tell me, will you come by and put money in my canteen periodically?
I certainly will. You'll be able to get cigarettes and everything. Don't worry about it. Okay? Be well, my friend. Take care. Hey, taking your calls, 717-452-9378. Or drop us a question or comment in the chat box. We'll be back right after this.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. Visit pd-concrete.com or call us today.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion. Or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Is this our final segment, or are we out of whack? We have one more segment.
Yes, exactly right. Right.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. Skippy here, and Eric is the attorney, and he'll decide if whatever's going on in your life at your condo or HOA is legal, illegal, or it depends. That's our new thing.
That's right. You realize he introduced a dog before introducing me? No, that's all right. It's like being at home. Anyway, here's a question from Helen. Helen writes in and says, can a fining committee choose to dismiss a fine even if a violation did take place, if it deems that the fine was selective enforcement to punish a particular unit owner?
Good one.
Yes, Helen, that's exactly what the statute allows for. The board levies the fine, right? And then it goes to the committee, and the committee can say, nope, we're not going to impose the fine. Why? Because we think it's unwarranted, and they can choose any reason whatsoever to make the decision that they're not going to impose it. Okay? Hope that answers your question. All right, back to the phones, Rob.
All right, let's go to Sarasota.
Oh.
How are you, Sarasota?
Hello, John here from Sarasota.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing great. Great show as always, Eric. Love it every Sunday.
Thank you
Got
so
a quick
much.
question here on the fining. Let's take a hypothetical. So I receive a fine because, let's say my lawn is got weeds and it needs to be replaced. The fine is, let's say, maxed out at $1,000. And to replace the lawn, it's $4,000. If I paid that fine, am I good? They can't come back at me and then say, okay, we're going to fine you again for not
That's
doing
interesting.
something.
So you see, he's looking at it as economics.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I'll pay the $1,000 if
cheaper
you're
to
making me
fix it.
then fixing a $4,000 fine.
Right.
Now, the fine isn't the only remedy that the association has at its disposal. Right? The fine is only one remedy the association has. If you're not going to listen and you're not going to get that lawn replaced, and that's your responsibility under the governing documents, then the association is going to call me and says, okay, Eric, what do? We went through the fine process. What's next? And I'm going to tell them, I told you we have to sue him, right? Now we got to sue you, and we're going to get injunctive relief against you. And a judge or an arbitrator is going to enter an order saying, okay, fix that problem that you're not fixing, that you're ignoring because you think it's not economically feasible for you to do it. It doesn't make sense for you to do it.
And if you pay the fine, have you admitted that you need to do it, that you're admitting guilt?
It's well, not necessarily. It just means that you're deciding to stay out of further trouble, perhaps. Okay. But you could, even if you paid the fine, you could still get sued. And a court or an arbitrator can say,
you didn't fix the
it.
problem.
You didn't fix the problem. So now when I sue you, you may have to get an attorney. How much is that going to cost you?
A lot.
Right? And when I beat you, in court, or I beat you in arbitration, now you're going to have to pay my fees, right?
Oh.
How much is that going to be?
Oh.
Right?
And still fix the lawn.
And still fix it, right. Or potentially face another monetary penalty imposed every day. So again, just because you pay the fine, that's only one remedy at an association's disposal. An association could always get injunctive relief against you. Okay?
Got it. And Put a new lawn in, by the way.
Oh, you
Thanks,
did.
Eric.
Good for you. It's a smart move. 'Cause I was gunning for you. I'm letting you know. Take care. All right. What else we got, Rob?
All right, let's go to Aventura.
Oh.
Aventura.
I have a sinking
Ears
feeling.
must have been ringing. A sinking feeling.
Good morning. Couple questions. One of them, Eric, by the way, thanks for helping the community. We graciously appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Please keep it up. How often does a board must have a meeting for condominium? That's one question.
Okay, so now there was a law, or there never was a law, I should say, that required condo boards to have any meetings at all other than the annual meeting and the budget meeting. Well, again, another thing changed since the collapse of the Champlain Towers, and it's since the board is now going through so many requirements for structural recertifications, for structural integrity reserve studies, the legislature thought that, you know what, the unit owners have to be kept advised. They have to be kept abreast of what's going on in the community. They have a right to know. So guess what? Now in a condo, every board must meet at least quarterly. Every quarter, a board must have a meeting, and the unit owners at those meetings have a right to ask anything and everything regarding what's going on with the building. Okay, so that's the first major problem that the legislature solved in people feeling that their board is just not communicating.
But
with
our
them.
board always call the meetings at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. I'm at work.
And you know what? There's nothing that says that they have to call it after hours.
I can't even Zoom.
Yep, and a lot of people complain about that. By the way, someone asked before about whether or not I had the involvement in the repair statutes and stuff. And I will tell you, the one that gets credit for that is former Representative Vicky Lopez, in my view. She did a great job.
On the show.
Yeah, we had her on the show. And that's something that I would urge our viewers to go back in time, go watch that show. She was fantastic.
But you
she
were on
worked
60
really
Minutes
hard on that.
And said
We
the bill
spoke
is due.
about it. The bill is due, right? I mean, yeah. Did I go and talk about it on 60 Minutes and things like that, and talk about it on TV and talk about it on the show? Absolutely. But she drafted.
She did something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did we put pressure on the Florida legislature when they didn't pass anything after the building collapse?
We went crazy.
Yeah.
We went crazy. I mean, letters to the governor. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, that's true. Certainly wrote letters to the governor. Certainly went on CBS with Jim DeFeedy's show. Certainly did that.
But
Did I
continuing
draft them? No.
education, yes,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
bill you did.
Thanks. You're making me feel good today. I forgot about what I did.
You did.
Yeah, thank you.
Now you have to. The board members have to get educated.
Absolutely. All right, what else you got?
Yeah, so by the way, what's the statute on?
I didn't hear what you said. What's the what?
What's the statute for that law?
Oh, statute.
I think it's 718-111 or 718-112.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but it's one of the two, I believe. Okay.
The other question is, we mailed 6 days notice. Then we realized we cannot do it 60 days. We needed to delay the annual meeting and organization by 10 days. How shall we already mailed the 60. How shall we?
Well, why do you have to delay it by 10? Why do you have to delay your annual meeting?
Correct. How do we?
Why? Why do you have to delay it? Why?
I'm not on the board. That's what already happened.
Okay, because there's an appellate decision, right? There's an appellate decision in Florida that says the board has no authority whatsoever to change the date of the annual meeting as it appears in your bylaws. That date that's in your bylaws, that's in stone, and the board can't change it. Why can't they change it? Because think about it. If you want to change something in your bylaws, the unit owners have to amend it, right? So by changing the date of your annual meeting, it's as if that document is being changed without a vote of the unit owners. So you cannot change the date of your annual meeting, period. That's in stone.
And if in case they create a meeting other than that day or that month,
there's
what happens to that meeting?
Listen, if you screw up and don't get the documents in the mail on time, right? originally, then okay, you screwed up, have it as fast as you can. But if it's out and you did the mailing correctly and the date as provided for in your bylaws, that's the date you chose. Sorry, you can't change it. Okay, there's a court decision right on point.
And that's annual and budget.
That's your annual meeting, not
Your
the
budget,
budget
but
meeting.
usually you do both together.
No, not necessarily. Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes you do one right before the other on the same day.
Right.
But sometimes not. Sometimes
But
not.
you
It's
don't-
not a
you
bad
can
idea
move-
to do it your way.
But you can move the budget if you want,
Yes.
just not the annual.
Correct. Bingo. Okay. All right, let's do this. Let's take our final break of the hour. Keep the calls coming in. 717-452-9378 or drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. Back right after this.
When you need a plumber you can trust, you want to feel safe, comfortable, and never awkward. At Better Call Steve, we fix leaks, not expose cheeks. No crack plumbing, just solid professional work. From kitchens to bathrooms, our team shows up clean, respectful, and gets it done right the first time. So if you've got a leak, a clog, or a drain that needs attention, call Steve today for a free drain inspection. Better Call Steve, 954-50-STEVE.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Welcome back to the final segment of Condo Craze and HOAs, and we're talking about fining in your condo or your HOA and what's legal, what's not. It depends, and you have a checklist, right, Robert?
That's right. We made a checklist. You could download it at condocrazeandhoas.com/download fining checklist.
Oh, Lord.
There you go. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our listeners, I'm sure, appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How about we go back to the phones?
All right, and let's go to, I don't see where you're calling from, but if you hear a beep, you're live.
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
I have a question on the statute of limitations for disputing the fine, not the fine itself, and how to extend it if it's closing the expiration.
Okay, so let's say you're disputing the fine, all right? You would have to allege that the board violated a statute or violated your governing documents to some extent, and then you'd have to look at Florida Statute 9511 to see what that statute of limitations would be for breach of a contract, and I think the answer to that is 5 years. So, you could sue, you'd have 5 years, I guess, to dispute it, but they're not going to wait 5 years to collect it, perhaps. So they may fine you, and, you just don't know what kind of board that's in power at the moment. They may impose the fine, you don't pay it, and they may come after you right away. They may sue you in a court of law to collect the fine. We don't know. Now, do I think it's worth it? No, not necessarily, especially in a condo if you can't foreclose on it. So, don't know what you're going to get. It all depends upon what your board wants to do. But you're certainly going to have to, yeah, go ahead.
I followed your advice and the fine is paid.
Right.
Good.
Got it. I think that's the smart move. But if you think they paid it, if you think they wrongfully collected it, then yeah, I think you have a right to go after them for it.
Right. So what is the statute of limitations for that one?
Again, I think it's 5 years. I think it's 5 years.
Okay, fantastic. And then when disputing the fine, if the grounds are both procedural and substantial, does it make sense to bring both of those to the court, or one has more chances
No,
of
raise
succeeding?
them both. Why not raise both? You throw everything against the wall and you see what sticks, right?
Okay.
Throw both. There's no
All right.
no reason not to.
And then a follow-up, which is a result from a previous caller. The board conducts the meeting at all kinds of different hours, and people who are still going to work are inconvenienced.
Yep.
Could the board be asked for a reasonable accommodation?
Well, it's the reasonable accommodation really means something else. That's when like a handicapped person asks for a reasonable accommodation. That's really what it's a very specific term in the law, reasonable accommodation. And you ask the board to be freaking nice? That's another term, right? And the answer to that is, of course you can. You know, come on, be reasonable. Not make a reasonable accommodation, but be reasonable. Of course you can ask them for that.
Well, see, I'm in
Are
a
they gonna
55 and
listen?
older, so maybe they're assuming no one's working.
Correct.
I don't know.
That's exactly right. They're assuming that people don't work. And
Hello?
we can have it during the day at 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
They're all a
So
bunch of
it's-
old people.
Right. It's not, well, listen, they typically wake up earlier, so you're lucky to not having these fining committee hearings at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So, be happy with Tuesdays at 10, I guess. Okay? Thank you.
Can follow up fine related? When the fine is imposed, the accounting typically takes the fine out of the regular monthly payment so that the owner becomes delinquent. Do they
that's wrong.
have that, or must they have a separate account for fines?
No, should not be taking out the monies that you're paying and using it immediately towards the fine. There's a process that the statute requires your monies be applied in a certain way.
Is that illegal?
And it goes to late. That's absolutely goes to late fees,
Holy
interest,
smokes.
attorney's fees, then to the delinquent assessment. Fines are not in there, so they absolutely cannot be applying it towards fines.
That's illegal.
That's a problem for them.
Do you recall by any chance the statute, the foundation for that?
718.116.
Woo!
Fantastic. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Look at
thank
you.
Yeah, I know that one
God
pretty
up
good.
in heaven.
All right, who else we got, Rob?
Everyone's on point today. I love it.
Sometimes we get it right.
Well, but I mean the callers too who have
Yes,
the finding
absolutely.
questions.
Phones are still stacked.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go to St. Petersburg.
How are you, St.
Yes,
Pete?
sir. This is David in St. Pete.
Hey, David, how are you?
Good, good. Our rules and regulations, which have been out for well over a year or two, state that you can't park more than 72 hours, that you have to have the placard that we give out to each owner, that type of thing.
Right.
And on the placard, it states everything. Can we still tow without going to the fining committee?
Do you have
is there a
the
sign?
fines, the signs in place that the statute requires at the entrance to the community? Does it say things like who they must contact or can contact if their car gets towed? Do they have notice where their car went if it's towed?
Yes, yes. We have the towing company, the towing name, and who to call for where your car is.
Okay. Does it say in the rules that the board has the authority to tow the vehicle?
Yes.
And will tow?
It basically says that if you don't show the placard, if you're there for more than 72 hours in guest parking, that shows the placard with the unit number you're at, then you will be towed.
So I'm saying this respectfully. You know the answer then. If there's signs at the front of the community, if everybody's warned, if it's in your governing documents, these people are on notice that's going to happen to them, tow away. But something's telling me that you're afraid to do it. Why are you afraid to actually, do it?
Well, no. I just want to make sure, we've been talking about the fining committee and all of, how that works. I didn't know if this now becomes part of the fining committee, that we should be something we should be aware of, or if that is separate.
This boils down to, like I said before, remedies. Fining is one remedy.
Right.
Towing is another.
Right.
Putting a sticker on the car, as we spoke before, that's another remedy, right? Suing somebody to force them to comply with the governing documents is another. There's a lot of different remedies, one of which is fining.
Okay.
Okay?
Can they tow
Okay,
and fine?
and towing, yes.
Can they tow and fine?
Yeah, well, I don't see why not.
Oh my God,
Right,
what a
right.
nightmare.
Make it miserable. Yeah, you can really make it miserable.
And
Tow-
put a
tow
sticker
fine.
on it.
And so you get it back with a sticker on it. Man, that's a mean
That's
place
brutal.
you live in. Right? Yeah, but you can do all of that, okay?
Oh my God. Maine.
Oh, thank you very
You got
much.
it. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks for listening. Keep them coming, Rob.
All right, let's see. Over to Davey.
Good morning, Davey.
Good morning.
How can we help?
Thank you for taking my call.
Pleasure. How can we help you?
I have a question, obviously. If a board member and one of the officers is found guilty of fiduciary responsibility violation and subsequently resigns from the board because of it, is there a time limit on how long it should be before that person is allowed to get back on the board again?
Good question, because I'm going to relate it to recalls, okay? So the question is a board member, whatever, resigns in disgrace, right? Or the board member is actually recalled, removed from the board in a recall proceeding. How long does that director need to stay off the board? And the answer is that recalled director, right, can come run for the board at the very next annual election, okay? There's no set amount of time that they have to stay off. Now, can they come back on while their term would have been effective? No, they can't come back on during that time that they were recalled for. Now, it's different. It's different if somebody resigns. Somebody can resign, be off 2 days, and come right back on the board if the board wants to appoint them back on. That's different from being recalled.
But not if they're delinquent.
Not if they're 90 days delinquent.
Then-
That's
then
correct.
they
If
got a
they're
problem.
delinquent, then that's a different story. That's correct. Good call. But if you're recalled, you can come back on after the next annual meeting. You could run in the next election. If you resign, you can come right back on. No amount of time.
That's like the state attorney in Orlando. The governor pulled her out. She
Came
ran
right back
again
on.
and
Yep,
she
can run again. Exactly. Okay, hope that answers your question.
That answers it exactly disappointingly, but
No, I
it
had a
does.
feeling. It's people typically disappointed when they hear that a director who's recalled can run in the next election.
No, but when they
Yeah.
run again, can you put in there for the people that are voting know that this guy was
No,
recalled?
absolutely
and put
not. That would void your election immediately.
Oh dear.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I'm sorry. You had something else to say?
Yes. I live in a condo in Davie, and has been an argument about whether we're 2 or 3 stories. How do you designate and make the difference?
So now it says livable stories. The statute was amended to say livable stories.
Yeah, what's your first story?
If your first story is parking, so it's not 3 livable stories anymore. It's only 2 livable stories, right? So that's how the statute has recently been amended. It's a recent amendment to the statute.
Really?
Yep, very recent.
So the ground floor can be considered 1 story?
That would be the first story
If
if
someone's
somebody's
living
living in it, if that story is livable.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thanks for the call. We got to keep them coming. Let's take one more,
What if
Robbie.
the ground floor is the lobby?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It might be an interpretation by your local building official. So is it livable? Well, if there's no bedrooms, there's no living rooms, then the answer, I would take the position that no, it's
Well,
not
some
livable.
husbands sleep on the couch down
That's
there.
true, or even in the lobby.
In the lobby, that's what I'm saying, down in the lobby.
Exactly. How did you know? Rob?
This was a contentious debate in Surfside, and because Miami Beach originally considers an understory not habitable.
Right.
So like they're building 3-story houses basically, as a result of this.
So that it goes through inspections.
So that it passes inspection.
Inspections, right.
They call it an understory because it's not habitable. There's not livable stories. But in places like Surfside where we don't allow 3 stories, they're able to get away with it now as an understory.
As an understory. Got it. Thank you. All right, let's take one more before we call it a day.
Over to Boca Raton. Amy?
Morning.
Good morning.
This is Amy from Boca.
Hi, Amy.
Question is, does the fining committee, those 3 people, do they have to remain the same for each incident, or for each particular hearing, can it be 3 totally different members of an
That's a good question.
To me, as long as they were appointed by the board of directors, right, then I think it's fine. So are you telling me that there's more than 3 members appointed to the committee?
No, what I'm saying is right now there is no committee, and trying to get people to go on a committee, it's kind of hard to
So it
find
rotates.
people. But depending on what the incidents are, that could change that. That's my question.
Meaning, when you say incident, meaning how many times they have to do this?
No. What the offenses?
What the
actual, what the offenses are.
I don't understand. So these
you have, like,
couple of
parking
members
experts?
here, parking experts. These people here, murders. These people, like, I don't get it. I never heard that one before.
Specializing in
Emotional support animals.
Parking experts.
Okay.
Pool experts.
Are these people attorneys?
Apparently.
No, then none of them are experts on any particular issue. Believe me, at least by law they're not. Yeah, so at least by law they're not. So as long as you have 3 people up there, at least 3 people who are appointed by the board and are not related or living with anybody who's on the board, then I think you're good.
It's not like you have to voir
so you may want to.
The same 3 for a
I don't think it has to be the same thing. In other words, you can appoint 5, and as long as you have 3 show up to have the hearing, I think that would be fine.
Any 3.
Right. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Guys.
Thanks, Amy.
That is the
Have a
most
great day.
difficult position, though, to find volunteers for.
I'm sure.
Who the hell wants to be the person that's finding your neighbors?
Yeah, or something ticking under your car.
Yeah, exactly. So that's tough. You know, if and that's another reason why boards.
Can you keep them anonymous?
No, you got to go. You have the right to go to the hearing and meet them. Yeah, so there's no way.
Confront your accuser.
Yes, exactly. So there's no real way.
Why would you want to be on that?
Why would you want to be on that committee? Right. And if your attitude is, oh, come on, we're only finding them 100, 200, something, and it's really no big deal. No, I'm telling you.
Foreclosure.
Right. It's a tough committee to find volunteers for the obvious reasons. Do you want to find your neighbor?
Yeah, so I would like tow instead.
And by the way, you could be great friends with your neighbor, next door, but if they committed the violation, now all of a sudden your best friend's coming in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do you want me to do? My hands are tied here. And your neighbors, you just know your neighbor's going to be pissed off at you if you do the right thing and you impose the fine, right?
Do you have to have a towing committee if you're going to tow, or
You just tow
away?
No, just tow away. That's it.
Okay,
as long as those signs are up there, everybody knows who to call, right? They've been warned they're going to be towed, and the board has made it very clear in the parking rules and regulations that if you violate, you're going to get towed.
I would
Sorry,
go with that.
you're getting towed.
The remedy that doesn't require a committee.
But the problem with all of this is exactly what we're talking about. If you're going to tow your neighbor's car, get ready for your neighbor to show up at your house and go crazy.
And slash your tires.
Yeah, and potentially, right?
Yeah.
Believe me, I told you that I made the mistake of representing a community where I lived at one point, right? First time I leaned somebody, I came out to my car, my whole car is keyed. Yep. So I learned quick as a young man, don't represent the community that you live, because that's a really bad mistake.
Or get a Tesla that has cameras all around it.
Right, exactly. I didn't do that, and I'm not representing the community where I live. That's for sure.
Wow.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of another great segment today. Today was a lot of fun. Good questions today. And I'll tell you, every question basically was about fining, was right on point.
Good
job, everybody. And if you need legal help off the air, give Glazer and Sachs a call during the week, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. 983-1112. We will see you again next Sunday at 11 a.m. on Condo Craze and HOAs. Everybody have a wonderful, healthy, safe week with your families. Take care.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Robert. Thanks.
Same truth, same time, no smoke, no spin. See you next Sunday at 11 a.m. You've been watching Condo Craze and HOAs. Lights coming down, another hour gone. Hard truths, lines clearly drawn. Process matters, rules come first. Ignore them once, and things get worse. Read the rules, show up in fun. When mistakes happen, don't take it personal. That's how lawsuits fade instead of grow. That's how communities stay in control. We take the calls, we hear it all. Helping Floridians stand tall. Condos, HOs, every voice has a place. When you face it head on, chaos loses the race.